Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today we're going to talk about being your best, not being somebody else's best, but your best. I always like to start out by giving you an example, and I want to tell you since my health declined, I started getting into voiceover a little bit, and I would listen to samples that everybody else did, and I thought, well, maybe I should try to make my voice like theirs. So I would do the auditions trying to change my voice a bit. And then the company I was working for put out a little message to everybody that we're all unique in ourselves, and they encourage you just to be yourself, just to do the best that you can do. And so I started doing that. I suffer from allergies. Sometimes my voice is raspy. But I thought, I'm just going to be me. I can't try to be somebody else, feel like or sound like somebody else. So I started just being me, and it actually paid off because we are unique in who we are. There is only one of us. And so being the best that we can be with ourselves, with what we have, that's what this podcast is about today. Over the last 20 some odd episodes, we've gone over a lot of what to do to make yourself feel better mentally, to encourage you to make changes, to make your life a little bit happier. Now it's being the best that we can be, which would be, let's start with our bodies, for example. We can admire the way somebody else looks, and that's fine, but it doesn't matter. Our body can only be in the shape that is good for us with our bone structure, with ourselves, and we should love what it is and be happy with what it is. And I would encourage you to do exercises to make your body the best that it can be. And this is kind of off the beaten path, but I've got to tell you, it's kind of a secret. I have this, actually it started out on a VHS tape. Now I got it on CD, thankfully. But I believe it was filmed in the 80s. And it is this woman that I believe it's called isometrics, when you breathe in the oxygen to areas that you want to firm up or whatever. So I'll give you an example. Like, say you want your legs to be more toned. She would bend her legs either like in a squatting position or a king tut position and hold it there. And at the same time, take a deep breath, as deep as she could, with adding 5 more inhales onto it. Hold it for a little bit and then let it go. She would do this 5 times. And the technique or the theory is when you bring oxygen to muscles that are flexed, it increases their tone, it increases their strength. And so I was doing this diligently. My sister said to me, "Those don't even look like your legs." And it's true. I mean, I have kept this videotape forever. Like I said, I believe it was filmed in the 80s, and if you saw her hairdo, you would totally agree with me. But it does work. So if you want a quick path to getting toned up, flex the muscles you want, whether it be in your arms, your legs, whatever the area is, and take deep breaths and hold it and then release it. Don't hold it for a real long time. That's not healthy, but hold it maybe for a count of 5 and then release it. Do this 5 times in a row, keeping that same position flexed. And you will be amazed. Pretty soon you'll start noticing yourself. You'll accidentally touch your own leg and say, wow, it never felt like this before. And that is with our body. Now, being our best mentally, of course, gets back to eating correctly, which we've also talked about. I have found on Google, and I know doctors just love this, that we're Googling everything. But what I read is that there is a connection between your gut and your brain. I myself, for the last 2, maybe it's going into 3 years, was suffering from stomach aches. Every night I would sleep with Pepto-Bismol by my bed. I didn't know what was causing it. So I Googled what causes stomach aches, and it named a lot of things. And one of the things that it mentioned was gluten. Now, years ago, I went to a nutritional lesson. She did lots of tests on me and found that I was gluten intolerant. But intolerance means you can have some, but more or less try to stay away from it. So, and already I feel like I can put my Pepto-Bismol away, that I don't need it next to me all night anymore. And not that everybody might have a gluten problem, but what I'm getting at is that we never know what the problem is. So if you're suffering from anything, do your best due diligence to try to figure out what it is. And by putting the Pepto-Bismol away is, for me anyway, one step toward getting my normal life back. And the more steps I can take toward being normal or being my best, the better I feel about things. Now, when we do eat correctly, and I don't mean giving up everything, because I've tried that. I've tried giving up sugar, and I've told you that I love my sugar treats. But I have noticed if I choose a sweet treat over a healthy meal, that it does affect the way I feel mentally, either by brain fog or mood. And so I think it's just a matter of making better decisions, like eating your healthy meal first, taking your vegetables, etc., and then you can have your sweet treat. Because I have found, this is just my own personal opinion, if I deprive myself 100%, that sets a mood in itself. You feel deprived, you're not really enjoying life. I remember Oprah saying one time regarding moods, when you wake up in the morning, that's usually when your brain starts ticking away. All you have to do, all you've been through yesterday, today, tomorrow. And she said, get out of bed as soon as you wake up. Now, not only have I started doing that, but I also bought one of those Amazon Echoes, better known as Alexa. And I shout to Alexa to play country music. And then I have my morning cup of coffee. So by listening to my music and having my coffee and getting ready in the morning, and as I've shared with you before, continue to get ready even if you're stuck home in this pandemic and no one sees you, because you will feel better about yourself. To me, that is a wonderful way to wake up, and it gets me excited to get out of bed, to have my coffee, to play my music. Whatever it takes to get you out of bed, to get excited about starting your life for that day. Now again, getting back to being your best self, whether you stay home and you cook or bake or whatever you do, or you work in Washington, D.C. for the government, from A to Z, it doesn't matter. It's who you are, what you do, and you want to be the best that you can be. I know through generations people have suffered with the question, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing, etc. I prayed about that myself, and, things did happen. For example, my health did happen, which steered me in certain directions, and it brought me to this point where I'm sharing all of this with you. And so I think when you make that decision to be your best, that you honestly want to do what you're supposed to be doing, that you're willing to make the changes, life can be very exciting, and you will be the best that you can be. With that being said, continue to go over the earlier episodes and start working on yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. So when you do have opportunities to do different things, you know that you gave it your best. And that's all we can expect from ourselves. That we have used and we've made the best to our ability what God has given us physically, mentally, emotionally. So again, you always want to try to be your best. Exercise, eating right, being on the right track with your priorities, being on the right track with your thinking. So with all this being said, I'm very excited for you, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.